It's been a month since its release. I've been using the Premiere for a while now, and finally, I can say, welcome to the full review of the Camon 18 Premiere. Now, in my Camon 18 video, I kind of was pointing out features that were removed from the 18 in order to make it more affordable. But with this phone, the Pro, the Premiere, there are no trade-offs. It's the most expensive Camon that you can buy. And without a doubt, one of its main highlights has to be the gimbal camera. And we're going to get to that in a second. But obviously, a phone is more than just a camera. So, is this phone worth your money? Should you spend your hard-earned money on this phone? I guess we're about to find out. In the box, you get the standard accessories. I'm talking a silicone case, a Type-C cable, a power brick, both in white, and even a plastic screen protector. But wait, there's more. Turns out if you purchase an 18 Premiere, you also get their Tecno Buds 1. They connect pretty seamlessly, and I mean, it's free. And no, they didn't remove the headphone jack. You also still get wired headphones. So already you're coming home with a bunch of stuff. With the Premiere, you get the new hybrid SIM tray. And maybe I'm just dumb, but I actually struggled with it. So I thought to show how it works when pulled out. The top area is for the micro SD card, and underneath we have these spots for two 4G nano SIMs. And you want to make sure the chips are facing down. The SIM tray is on the left side of the phone, and on the right we have the very clicky volume keys, and under that the power/fingerprint reader. Now, I think functionally that makes a lot of sense, like being able to wake up your phone and unlock it at the same time with the same button, but it sort of has a downside. And please tell me it's not just me. So I found myself mistakenly touching the fingerprint sensor while holding it and walking. Again, please tell me it's not just me. Okay, I'm done. But yeah, you can't fault its speed or accuracy. It unlocks fast and it's very consistent. At the top of the phone, we have a microphone. And then at the bottom, we have the headphone jack, microphone, Type-C port, and a speaker. It's the only speaker on here, and it's loud, but doesn't sound as good as, say, I don't know, stereo speakers? That's maybe for me the only hiccup when it comes to hardware. But to be fair, most of the time you consume media using Bluetooth speakers or headphones, and they give you wired and wireless earbuds. The Premiere looks gorgeous, and it looks and feels like a premium device. With its glass front and matte glass finish, they went for a more minimal look with the Tecno Camon text smaller and placed at a corner, and with its somewhat flat sides, it does feel modern. Now, it has a matte finish, which is great and doesn't show fingerprints, but it does show smudges. And yeah, I cleaned it like a gajillion times while filming this video. It comes in two colors. We have Polar Night and Vast Sky. This is the Polar Night color. I'm yet to see the Vast Sky. I'm a big fan of its design, no doubt. Now, it is sort of big. I mean, I daily the iPhone XR, and that's supposed to be big. But alongside this phone, it's not as big. So you might want to take a look at this at a store before actually, purchasing one. And then we have the camera bump. It houses a triple camera setup, and just by looking at the cameras, you get this feeling that, yeah, maybe these cameras are the real deal. And we'll get to that in a second. It has a 64 megapixel main wide sensor, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, which is the gimbal camera, and an 8 megapixel periscope 5x telephoto lens, and a quad LED flash. Oh yeah, and this phone can also go up to 60x. But of course, those are just numbers, so we went outside and took some photos, and we made sure to get variety of shots, and there's of course also night mode. So we took a lot of buildings and structures really. It was actually pretty fun to shoot with all three cameras, and what I noticed almost every single time is that the ultra wide was more saturated. And that simply means colors just looked more vibrant. And it might be down to preference, but I actually like it. Colors from the main and telephoto are also good and pretty lifelike. Now, of course, the ultra-wide isn't as detailed as the main sensors, and sometimes photos looked very meshed, if that's a word. But generally, I'm actually pretty pleased with the photo quality on the Camon 18 Premiere. Like, I would see a building or like a traffic light and I would be like, ooh, let me take out my phone and take a picture. I don't know, it was just really fun to shoot with this phone. And because it's a somewhat big sensor, when shooting close-up subjects, it naturally blurs the background, and edge detection is pretty good on here. And then portrait mode basically just amplifies the blur. So again, really good portrait mode. And we also took photos at night because, you know, there's a night mode. And I would say if it's pretty dark, but there are still lights around, it does a pretty decent job. The selfie camera is 32 megapixels, and I don't take selfies, but for the sake of this review, I did. And yeah, I would say the selfies look better after you take the picture. I mean, look at that sky, it's well exposed. And then let's not forget 60x zoom. And as you can probably tell, it's not the best quality, but again, it's just one of those cool things that you could be like, yo, my phone can do this. I feel like if you get this, you're going to take a lot of pictures. Now, it's not perfect, of course, no camera is, but I would say serious improvement made on the cameras of this phone. And then we have video. It shoots up to 2K, and that might be a cool stat, but I care more about actual quality, and it's still not as good. Maybe I'm just used to like iPhone video quality, but I don't know, just not as impressed as with photos. But I believe just as they improved photos, they can do the same thing for video. So fingers crossed. And then the elephant in the room. The gimbal camera. And yeah, it's a super cool thing to show people like, yo, my camera can move, but does it actually work? Simple answer, yes. But one thing to bear in mind is with even more expensive and sophisticated actual gimbals, you still have to be steady. Like if you're thinking that you could hold this phone while recording and just shake it up and down and footage will still be stable, then I'm sorry, no, you're wrong. But yeah, if you walk right and are quite steady, it would remove the minimal shakes from your hand and the footage would be stable. So the stabilization does work. But still, video quality isn't great. So even though it's a cool feature, I don't really see like anyone actually taking as many videos on this phone as say photos. And I think that's it for cameras. When you flip the phone over, you do get greeted by its display. Now, it's a 1080p hole punch display, it's AMOLED, and has a refresh rate of 120 Hz. They checked all the boxes. And it's a good looking display. Colors look good and accurate, the bezels are minimal. It's a tall display at 6.7 inches and has a PPI of 393. Now, when scrolling around the UI and browsing, it's lovely. I set the refresh rate to auto, so you're switching between 120 Hz and 60 Hz. And I did that to sort of save battery, at the same time experience 120 Hz. And I did. And I can say, yes, simply like, it's a really smooth display. It gets plenty bright, up to 550 nits, so it's visible outside. Speaking of display, because it's AMOLED, we do get an always-on display feature. And they give you multiple styles with different animations. And I do like this particular elapse style. And there are quite a lot to choose from. So display is standard on here. It's pretty impeccable. But really, if I had to complain, I would say, I wish there wasn't this white ring around it. I wish it was more stealth. But to be fair, it's not distracting. Another feature intertwined with display would be software. And the Premiere is running iOS 8.0 on Android 11. And I must say, it's a lot nicer now. I like the icons, the new control center, the animations, and the only complaint really I would have is the app drawer. Now, I'm not really a fan of the vertical app drawer, but still, like if you swipe up from the screen, you open up the app drawer. And now you can't swipe down to go back. Like, why? Like you could fix that anyway. And then one other little problem I noticed with WhatsApp, when you open a chat with someone and perhaps you want to send a voice note and lock the voice note, you would notice that the Google Assistant would 9 times out of 10 be called upon. And that's as a result of the, I guess, WhatsApp not being optimized for this display. Because if you look at the bottom edge, it just seems kind of squeezed. And this is just on WhatsApp. Like Instagram works fine, but just WhatsApp. So yeah, maybe that could be fixed as well with a software update. And good news, Tecno are actually promising that you'll be getting Android 12. And they also say that there would be huge design changes to it. So, fingers crossed. Now, it comes with the Helio G96. It's the successor to the G95 found in the Camon 17 Pro. And there's a lot of talk about how the G96 is not as good as the G95, graphically. And I don't really care because I'm not that much of a gamer. But if you do care about that, you care about PUBG and Call of Duty Mobile, then yeah, you would be able to play all those games, but not at the best graphic settings. Now, I did play some games that weren't so graphically intense, and it was fine. And another thing that was really fine was multitasking. Like, you can open 10 applications at the same time and none would restart. That is a lovely feature, but I don't know why you would open 10 apps at the same time. But if you wanted to do that, well, you can. It comes with 8 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. So yeah, definitely, it was a really smooth experience with this phone. Another really good feature would be its battery. Now the 18 Premier comes with a 4750 mAh battery, which is basically 5000 mAh, and it does last you a day. I ended every day with about 20% of battery life, which is pretty sweet. And that included watching YouTube videos, scrolling through Instagram, responding to messages, playing games, taking pictures. So the evening I got this one, actually, it was about 80-ish%, I think 83%. I put my SIM in it, I started downloading apps, watched a bit of YouTube, did a bit of Instagram, I went to bed, and then the next day woke up, used it as a daily, like normal, and ended that day around 9 p.m. with about 1% of battery life. And then it charged from 1% in 30 minutes to 58% in 30 minutes. Like, that is pretty cool, I think. And that's thanks to its 33-watt fast charger included in the box. So it's clearly a one-day phone and charges pretty fast. And we can't fail to talk about that pretty sick charging animation. Is it just me? And I think that's everything about this phone. It goes for 182,000 Naira, so not cheap. But the question is, do you think it's worth it? Do you? Like, for the features, do you think this is a good buy? I mean, I think, in summary, that this has a good display. Very impressed with the photos they can take. Battery is excellent, design is impeccable, and unless you're a serious gamer, performance is also great.
So yeah, I actually think that it's a pretty solid device and it packs a lot of features. But the question is, like, what features do you care about? And does the 18 Premier have those features? And I think that's where your decision would be made.
I definitely want you to tell me what you think about it in the comments of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you when you see me. Is there anything else I'm missing? I feel like there's something else I'm missing. Oh yeah, live transcribe. That's a cool feature. Oh yeah, I also don't like their keyboard. Jeez.